it's so organized that it makes the movie The Godfather look simple. In my case, I was elite trafficked. I'm friends with a lot of the gals from Epstein Island. We share some of the same clients, which are not being named yet. I was the first survivor coming out in our state. I was climbing a lot of mountains for the first time that nobody had broke through here. You've really got a mess. They're trying to create a slave, and people don't understand the times. I'm a lot older than a lot of folks on here, probably. Definitely older than you, son.
Yeah. With kind of this recent news headlines that came out with Ghislaine, who's asking for a pardon, the survivors, they're saying, we're putting our names out there saying, we don't care if you release our names as proof to kind of get the ball rolling and the momentum going. How long did that feel like to you to take to where it's like, wow, there's actually now over 100 people that are coming out and talking about this?
All of it's felt like forever to me. You know, I've wanted to name names for so long. It's so hard to hold them in. Part of it you're doing for survival, but 99% of it, I mean, maybe when I first started, it was for my own survival and fear of those people. But it becomes protection of my children, my grandchildren. That's huge. And on top of that, though, I'm looking at and have been meeting with lawyers a lawsuit of a very famous rock band. There were other rock bands involved that I could name, but it wouldn't really be fair. You and I talked about this, that those rock bands, two others I can think of right off that still tour, I don't believe they actually knew. You know, first of all, we didn't have the term trafficked. And I don't believe that they actually knew that I was there by force. I think they think I was like either a groupie brought in, or back then everybody was a prostitute, and they assume you're there of your own volition, and you've already been programmed and trained to behave.
When you would go to these parties, that, there were probably people that had no idea that these people were there by force.
Right.
So if there's a famous rock band, right, that thinks they're just having groupies brought in or girls to party with, they're not aware that these people are being trafficked. If they're not aware, and I'm talking, in the lens of they have no idea.
Right.
Who's setting that up? Is it the label? Is it the managers? Because there's clearly nefarious stuff to get it to that point.
Yes, absolutely. So I'd like to explain kind of my view of how this works in general. All of these different ones, we can take Diddy, we can take, Maxwell, we can take, the Island, we can take the stuff I was involved in was very famous people as well. One that many have heard me name, publicly is Kissinger. Gerald Ford is another one I've named publicly. They're hanging out at certain places. One of them you have a video about. That happens to be a place that they bring politicians, artists, actors, musicians, whatever, together. And Kissinger was like the guy. But that's the guy that I had to accompany there. I met Kissinger as a child. That's disgusting to me. I'm so glad he's dead. I'm so glad he's dead. This just gives you a hint of how bizarre these people are. Once my book came out, which was in 2018, it was the year before I started getting texts, private texts to my phone that would come and be like, they'd call me by one of my stage names. I had multiple stage names. Nobody could know that but the Ring, right? They'd send me a bouquet of flowers by text, a picture, and thank me for last night and garbage like that. Now I'm married. I'm not being trafficked anymore, but it was this messing with my head thing. And every year I would get this with the same messages, but calling me by different names. and would break through my blocks. I'd block their number, they'd break through the blocking. All I can tell you is Kissinger died 2 years ago. I quit getting the texts.
Holy cow. Think of Henry Kissinger and how prominent of a figure he was in the United States government with Richard Nixon, Gerald Ford, his foreign policy, how active he was. And so you want to talk about being amongst the elite, the true elite, right? Not that celebrities and all that's not terrible, but I feel like when you not only have the celebrities, but now you have the people that are above them. You have the people that are running the governments on a world level, going to these events, and you are there with them is just, it's hard to wrap at least my head around the fact that, in the photo here on the screen. So April 21st, April 23rd, 1978, Bilderberg. It was held in Princeton, New Jersey. This is a photo of the room where you had said there was private parties of the elite at their homes and an underground area. You had attended with Kissinger, and then I have a video to show here in a second. But just looking at this picture, Kelly, it looks creepy. It just looks creepy.
I can't tell you how terrifying that was. Imagine being very young. I was still a teenager and hearing world level domination stuff. I hated the news, so I didn't pay attention to any of that. Also, I wasn't really allowed. There wasn't any TV time once they have you, right? And so then here I am years later, and I'm going, man, I've been to New Jersey to something called Bilderberg, but I don't know what it is. And I know that I hate Kissinger, and I remember stuff already about him. So I decided to look up Kissinger and New Jersey and Bilderberg, that I don't even know how to spell, by the way. I spelt it wrong. And it comes up, and I'm like, oh my gosh. Like you cannot make that stuff up. And I had to start believing myself. And there's been a million things since then. There's so much evidence now that I don't have to convince myself anymore. But when you're first recovering memories, you don't believe you.
When you were there, did you just think these were wealthy people, or did you know they were powerful?
Yeah, I knew. I knew because you're also being forced into trafficking situations with, it's not like I got to just, which is disgusting to say, but just be on Kissinger's arm. You're an escort. And an escort is just a fake name we tell ourselves to ease the fact that someone is being raped. Because you can't call it prostitution when you're being forced to be there. You're prostituted. And we want to get our language right so that victims are recognized for the horrors they've really been through. You meet one rape victim and the trauma that they go through for decades. Fathom this happening multiple times a day. Some women talking about 20 times a day. Now Jesus. In the elite, they're trying not to do that to you, but it's still multiple times a day.
Just calling it what it is.
Yep.
It's rape.
It's rape.
It's raped. They're forced to be there.
Yep.
I think the way that you phrased it with the escort definition is profound. It's powerful. Like, let's be honest. You're not an escort. You're being raped, especially when you're there being forced to be there.
Yeah. Whoop-de-doo. You get to wear a fur coat and a diamond necklace at that event. But it belongs to them, not you. And is that worth being raped? No, it's not. And then you get to turn around and have to be in places where you're treated like an animal, where in fact, that's what Bohemian Grove was. It was the same elite people, or some of the same, being in an animalistic, treacherous setting where they're disgusting. These are heads of nations and heads of our country, and they're defecating in front of each other in the fields. Or it's not fields, it's let's call it a grassy knoll. They're just putrid. They're behaving like animals. They're running around often with nothing on or just in their underwear. I mean, I've seen so many famous people in nothing that I can't even tell. I wouldn't even be able to describe somebody's body to you because you've seen so much of it. They're so gross in their behavior that it's impossible for us to imagine that these supposed people in suits and wealthy turn around and do this.
I don't know if this is an out of line comment, but hearing you say that, like, it pisses me off for you, because I'm like, you shouldn't have to tiptoe around this damn thing. You shouldn't have
Right?
to just sit there and now I'm the one that has to be very professionally spoken about the fact that no, these world leaders, they're naked and they're defecating in front of each other, and these are famous people, they're running our governments, and you, after having to escape the hell of that, has to now be worried that you
Yep.
can't say certain words on the platforms that these people run, because then they're going to shadow ban you just to protect their entire ring. It's
Right?
wild to me.
It angers me. It enrages me. And thank you. Seriously, it means so much to us as survivors when someone like yourself acknowledges the 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 injustice of it all. It's so I'm glad I believe in a God that is just, that they will get theirs. I know where Kissinger's burning. I mean, I can, unless there was some unbelievable last minute change, and we know he was disgusting. He is the one person who was originally named as being the reason Epstein Island happened. He Nobody remembers this, and you can't find it now, but I heard it, and several others did too. And Bondi named him way in the beginning of the Epstein thing, and now you can't find it anywhere
Yeah.
except those girls that were there.
This guy snuck inside the Bohemian Grove and exposed everything on camera. Just like Ryan Garcia recently outed them, and he's had some more to say since then. The Bohemian Grove is a 2,700-acre encampment in the middle of the Redwood Forest just outside of Monterey, California, where members of the Bohemian Club, an invitation-only, men's-only group of the ultra-rich and powerful, meet up every July to hang out, drink a lot, just have a good old boys' weekend out like they used to. Oh, and also decide the fate of the world through sacrificial ritualistic ceremonies they partake in. Now, the Bohemian Grove itself is not a rumor. It's 100% real, or at least it was. An infamous investigator by the initials of AJ snuck a hidden camera into the grove back in July of 2000 and recorded their entire ritual on tape. And when members of the club were confronted by the public about their strange practices, they just kind of brushed it off, saying, oh yeah, it's just a fun little boys getaway we do, you know, messing around and just having fun, hee hee. What's a little concerning is that these Grovers are not some artistic, free-loving hippies and nomads. They're Fortune 500 billionaires, CEOs, university directors, leading scientists, and people in positions of power. Even past politicians like Richard Nixon, the Bush family, Ronald Reagan, and Henry Kissinger are confirmed members. What are former presidents and even actors like Clint Eastwood doing taking part in red-hooded, fire-fueled mock sacrificial rituals in the middle of a forest? This is where it goes from kinda weird to just plain horrifying. So the main sort of attraction point at the Grove is the owl statue they perform their ceremony in front of. During the ritual, members light a gasoline-soaked human dummy on fire in a seemingly mock sacrifice, known as the cremation of care, all while wearing red robes and surrounded by fire. You let me know what this looks like. Rumors claim these sacrifices are not mock at all, and that a real person is actually inside the dummy. Mock or not, don't you think it's kind of weird that presidents who ran, or maybe even currently run the country, are doing shit like this? Then boxer Ryan Garcia blew the lid off the entire thing, claiming that they, the elite class, tied him down in this forest and forced him to watch kids get the worst thing you can possibly imagine. That this mock sacrifice is just a publicly known tip, and for once, the tip is all I need to know. Allegedly, there are other horrible acts that happen behind closed doors at the Grove, similar to an infamous island that got booked years ago. Garcia then went on a tear, dropping a bunch of now deleted tweets that exposed some pretty serious leaks. Talks about hidden Vatican files of Jesus, the Ark of the Covenant, giants, clones, and aliens. That earthquakes will destroy LA and Vegas, most notably that a big one will strike on June 6, 2024. We just had quakes in Taiwan and even New York City on April 3rd and 5th, so is another one coming? If it's past June 6th, I Guess we know the answer. Otherwise, we wait to see what happens. Most of these have since been deleted, including an alleged tweet that predicted the bridge collapse in Baltimore on March 26th, exactly when it happened. People say this one's fake, but still others claim they remember Ryan posting it. What we do know for sure is the Bohemian Grove had its last known official meetup in July 2008, ending it after getting too much public attention. People speculate they just moved to a newer, more secretive location to keep their dark arts living strong.
How many people are at this event?
Well, I never counted, but
Lots,
yeah, a
though?
lot. I mean, there's nowhere to escape. I can tell you that. Now, there are many settings where that happens. I'm going to say that in my experience, there were mostly politicians involved in the running of things. But above them, you had this organized crime that was even running them. It's so organized that it makes the movie The Godfather look simple. This happens on an international level. So each nation, if you can think of like the top block, there is a USA crime boss, basically, literally. This was pointed out to me by people I trust in three-letter organizations that we no longer trust. But these
Right.
individuals I do trust. One of them worked directly for our current president. Another was one of the best, most well-known CIA operatives. These are friends of mine, and they're good people. That they have helped me so much, and they have confirmed what I saw, and I've confirmed what they believed. So it's kind of works together. But we would see this overlord, this person is literally an individual person that just so happened to live over the border from where I was when I was 17 and kicked out of my family home.
Kelly had sent me these pictures as visuals, and I think it was a good time to put these up because starting at age 9
Yeah.
through 20, these are all instances of pictures while this was happening to you.
Mm-hmm. And age 9 is a good place to start. Age 6, I was introduced to this ring. From 6 till we moved at age 9, what was happening to me was called schooling. They called it schooling back then. It's beyond grooming. It's training you to be everything that the commercial sexual industry needs. So they are literally training you so young that by age 9, which is that first young picture, I didn't realize. A friend sent it to me after reading my book. And she said, this was at my birthday party. She turned 9 just like a month after me. And so she said, I want you to see what you looked like at age 9. I thought I was a young woman at age 9 is when they first began putting me into adult porn films and adult porn magazines. Age 9. And now I look at that little baby and I'm like, oh my gosh, look at how little I was. And no wonder I would like cover my mouth when I smiled sometimes back then. And, and I embarrassed easy, and I was a people pleaser, and I was afraid all the time. And yet I had this tough side. There was like 2 of me, eventually there was many more of me, but there was
Wow.
2 of me that were very clear, that I always refer to in the book as Kelly of the day and Kelly of the night. And we were able to run free. It was a small community.
From the outside looking in, it's your quiet little town, doors unlocked, kids can ride their bikes down Main Street.
Bertie, you could be looking at a victim today next door to you and you wouldn't know it. This is the terrifying part of it. Nobody knew except those involved. My parents had no clue. My siblings had no clue. My brother remembers certain things where I was being groomed, schooled at age 6. I don't remember this, but my brother just read my book this year, and he said, you warned me at age 6. He was 4, and we were running the streets, just so people know, but just in our neighborhood, because everybody knew everybody. And I told him, do not walk by that building. Do not go near it. Horrible things happen to children in that basement. And so he told me, and I didn't know this, I don't remember telling him it. He told me that the whole time we lived in that community, he would cross the street there and never walk by it.
Wow.
I had no idea. I don't remember it.
That's powerful. Like you were probably giving off some sort of energy that even at a young age that he was probably like, I need to listen to that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's absolutely real. You can tell when people are genuine, even like through the screen right now, I can feel it, kind of
I'm
coming
kind
up.
of feeling it myself because I've maybe only told that once or twice, and it to family or whatever. I don't know that I've ever said it publicly.
Wow.
I do.
I do have a question about one of these pictures because you had put in the caption in your email, the night I fled South Dakota. I believe it was like your cousin's wedding. Is there a
That's
story
when
behind that?
that's when I escaped.